Aloha, I am June Jones of the Houston Roughnecks, and this is the XFL show.
More burger for the love of football. For the love of football. For the love of football. For the love of football.
If you smell what the XFL is cooking.
Welcome, football fans. This is the week of December 19th, 2021, on the road to kickoff 2023. This is For the Love of Football, and this is the XFL show. I'm Alan.
And I'm Bryant.
The USFL is owned by Fox and now also going to be landing on NBC in 2022. Doubt we get a big XFL TV deal this week, but hopefully the league has something for us in terms of a Christmas present. This is episode 201, and we're talking about Foxy Peacocks today, Bryant. The USFL, big TV deal, getting paid to be on television. It's a really exciting time for them. But more important than that, we are 60 weeks from kickoff for the XFL.
We are closer than ever. I just feel like this is the what is it? Blank-a-doodle-doo. What is it from? Man, what's Howard Stern's movie? Yeah, he's
Private
on the
Parts.
radio, right? Private Parts. Yeah, Blank-a-doodle-doo. Mine's a sloppy cock. A doodle-doo.
I don't know if we're getting that vulgar on this one, but they're Foxy Peacocks. You don't like the title of the episode?
Okay. Yeah, sure. What did the Fox say? Peacocks, I guess.
What
big
does
week
the Fox say?
for the USFL. I can't wait for us to sit here and completely trash this USFL for the entire episode, like we always do, right?
Like some people think we always do. Other people understand it's not coming from a place of hate or dislike or anything. I'm excited for this. This news is perked. I sent you the article right away when I read it. Sports Business Journal, I think, came out with it. This is awesome. Great news for them in 2022. But again, this is 4 months away. This is like coming up real soon. And the TV deal's there. Everything, we're going to get into it, but big week for the USFL. Of course, we have to talk about how it relates to the XFL. A lot of doom and gloom, it looked like, on some social media from fans in terms of the XFL's TV prospects. We'll discuss that a little bit. And of course, everything else related under the sun of the XFL. It's Christmas week, Bryant, and we're in the holiday spirit. Also, I'm going to talk about what I want from the XFL for Christmas. I don't know if you know what you want yet. I'm not going to ask for too much from them or Santa this year. I'm not getting greedy.
I just have a feeling what you're asking for is to not touch anything as much as possible, pretty much.
That's you. Yeah, see, I'm like one of those kids that just gave the hint all year long about what I wanted for Christmas.
And
so
you're
it's
going to
not
open your
even
present
a surprise.
and just be like, seriously, mom and dad. Seriously,
Socks.
Santa.
Damn it. 724-565-4XFL is the XFL fan line. If you want to hit us up, leave a voicemail, send a text anytime. You could do it there. Or you could, of course, go social media routes, Twitter or Instagram at XFL Show. If you want to reach us, DMs are open.
YouTube?
And we will discuss YouTube. That's XFL.show, baby. I guess that you could leave a comment in the YouTube, on the YouTube channel whenever you're watching the show. A lot of people do that. We have some comments we're going to read from last week's show, the 200th extravaganza. Thanks again to everybody who tuned in live. We are not live this week. We are live on tape, and we're doing this in one take, I hope, Bryant. We'll see how it goes. I don't know what since we're talking a lot of USFL, though. I don't know. We'll see if our sponsor has to get a lot of edits in on you.
More is because we're talking about Foxy Peacocks.
Foxy Peacocks.
I don't know where I'm going to take this. We'll see.
Do.
I just came back from a Christmas party. Free alcohol.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Watch
wow.
out.
Nice. Bryant's ready. He's loosened up for this one. I got my Santa hat on, and I had a Frangelica earlier. That's as rowdy as I got tonight.
Frangelica.
It's like
I'll
a
Google
little
that while you talk about our sponsor.
Aperitif. It's very delicious. Pretty Easy Podcasts. That's our sponsor. That's who's going to do some editing here if Brian slips up. And you can get your own editor, producer, all the podcast help you would ever need at an extremely affordable rate. Just go to prettyeasypodcast.com to get started, whether you're a new podcaster, you've been podcasting, and it's getting kind of taxing on you. And it's 2022. You want to keep podcasting, but you don't want to keep spending all these hours doing all this editing and posting your show and whatnot. Pretty Easy Podcast will take care of all of that, all the help you would ever need podcasting. Seriously, go to prettyeasypodcast.com right now.
Because they make podcasting pretty easy. And don't get me wrong, it's not too late. Go to prettyeasypodcast.com and give the gift of podcasting. If you know a friend who's maybe struggling to get their podcast going, or you know someone, hey, you should podcast, give them the gift of a producer at Pretty Easy Podcasts. They'll help you out.
Oh, what a great gift.
Are there gift cards available?
A podcast
kind
friend.
Of cards.
Yeah, kind of. Tell them you heard it on the XFL show. I'm sure they'll give you a special rate. Not any that we have in the copy here.
Of a producer,
yeah,
right?
But we'll see. If you tell me you heard about it on this is the XFL show, I'm sure I'll tell them. Give them a special rate then. We'll figure it out for you. We have that kind of clout with Pretty Easy Podcasts. We have that kind of clout with our listeners last week. Brian, 200 episodes. We were celebrating. They were celebrating. And Brandon on YouTube in the comment section, xfl.show, said, congrats on the 200th episode. Have been here since episode 1. I will say after listening to this, Brandon. I got to say the USFL, damn it, Brandon, thank you. The USFL and the XFL, if it makes it to the second season, the USFL, that is, would be interesting to see if they start maybe after the week of the XFL championship and then go until either preseason of the NFL or the season itself. And then we end up having football year-round, every weekend, and 3 leagues to spread out the talent would be awesome. But who knows? That, Brandon,
who has ever
dream,
said that on?
But could be tough.
Anyone ever said, I want year-round football on this show? Has anybody ever said that?
I think you've said it. I think I've said that. I think
you've said it like 1,000 times.
I say it all the time. That's the dream. It's the dream,
could it work out? Yes. Is there enough players to go around? I was watching the D3 championship last night while I was having some margaritas and molcajete. Oh, have you ever had molcajete?
Yeah, molcajete all day.
Man, it was pretty decent football. It was good football.
Oh, I mean, the talent in college is better than ever, if you ask me. I mean, when you talk about across different conferences, levels of play.
We are better than ever at the level of play in college football.
I think we are, and that's why you have so many attempts at spring football. But now, are we getting greedy saying year-round? Maybe not. Maybe the USFL will have its own unique model that lasts, and maybe the XFL comes in with its own unique model, and that catches on. That seems like, logically seems that like, no, that can't happen. The two won't be able to coexist. But I like where Brandon's head's at, and that's what I'm rooting for as a football fan, first and foremost, for sure. At Go Dogs, a bunch of numbers on Twitter, Bryant, put a picture of you and Winston Moss, I guess from an LA Wildcats event back in the day.
Block party.
And said that you're on the Mount Rushmore of the XFL.
Are you sure wasn't talking about Winston Moss?
It said Go Cats, but the account was Go Dogs. I love cats and dogs, so I'm with this person, but I don't know about them putting you on the Mount Rushmore. I don't know if I could agree with that.
What?
Make a monument
maybe put the
to
show. Like I said, put the show on the Mount Rushmore.
I don't want to pat our. I'm not gonna pat ourselves in the back that much. I'd say just build us a monument somewhere in the country.
I'm not saying we belong on there. I'm saying that we could be in the conversation as a show. Me individually, I didn't do anything. I just talked into a microphone. Obviously, I have a face for radio or face for podcasting. But I thank you. I know exactly who this man is, by the way.
I put you on the Mount Rushmore of people who were able to befriend coaches and people who worked at teams.
I do everyone. I was like, buddy,
very
buddies.
sociable person.
Very social. Thank you very
Brian.
much. I appreciate that. Yeah, you're lucky that I went with you to Houston because nobody would recognize you there if it was just you.
No. Yeah, I would have.
Mine was the
totally
face being crunched by the arms of Winston Moss.
Yes.
And that's how they knew who I was.
You get hugged a lot more than I do. It's true. That's why I'm trying to branch out. I'm wearing hats. I'm trying to become a little bit more approachable in 2022. Maybe that'll be my New Year's resolution.
This Go Dogs, by the way, I love him because he was the one who I think I told the story last year or whenever this was, is that he was waiting on the side for me interviewing Winston Moss, thinking that he was going to ask Winston Moss once I was done with my interview, and he asked to take a picture with me and his son instead. It was great. I think it's on our Twitter. I have to retweet it. It's great.
And that's why Winston Moss never calls Brian anymore. Let's go to the next comment we got on Twitter last week from JD Houston 2000. And this was in response to the USFL TV deal news with NBC coming on board with Fox. Said, with the USFL locking up NBC in a multi-year deal, this cannot be good news for the XFL. Now the USFL has 2 of the top linear TV networks supporting its product, and those options now off the table for the XFL. USFL exposure in the market first will put the XFL behind. And again, logically, and common sense says, yeah, probably. But is it the case? We will discuss this in detail during this week's Hot Read, Bryant, but were you surprised? I just want to ask you this. Were you surprised to see reactions like that from XFL faithful to the USFL getting NBC?
No, I'm not surprised to see reactions like that because it's the jerk response, right? It's the, hey, this is what, oh my God, we lost NBC.
We're not calling JD Houston a jerk.
Oh, sorry.
Knee-jerk reactions.
Yeah, sorry. That was the mojito talking. The knee-jerk reaction to say, hey, oh no. We'll get into all the details, but I get it. It's definitely something to think about, to talk about, to discuss, and how this affects the XFL. We'll get there. I think when we get to the hot read, you'll see that we can breathe as XFL fans.
Yeah, and we'll dive into it a little deeper. But as we dink and dunk here, I did want to end on this one, Bryant. I don't have the up-to-date figure in front of me. I think last I checked was over 11,000. The Pittsburgh Maulers of the USFL, by far the most Twitter follows of any of the teams and their accounts yet. So I think we can officially declare the Pittsburgh Maulers the United States' football team.
I'm going to give you the actual Pittsburgh Maulers via Birmingham. There we go.
Pittsburgh-Birmingham Maulers.
7,530.
Oh, really? I thought it was over 11.
No.
And this is on Twitter? Maybe I was adding up Instagram too.
Maybe. Oh, that's what they're doing. So the USFL right here put out a tweet. God bless them. I love them. They're going for it. Over 100,000 accumulated follows on all social media networks for all 8 teams and the USFL.
Good job.
Huge, huge.
Very good. They are 4 months out. And that's
4 months.
Yeah. And they had a commercial air this week, I believe, during the Chargers-Chiefs game. I didn't see the game live, so I didn't see the commercial. I've seen it on Twitter since. It's just the ball getting kicked off, correct?
Did someone order more football? Wouldn't it be great if they decided not to go with the kickoff?
Oh, and there's no kickoff in the league?
Like the AAF?
That would be horrible. Yeah. Please don't do that, USFL. Again, 4 months out, no semblance of a rule book, no idea about what kind of well, actually last week we did, can't lie there. We did get an idea of the type of players they'll go for, young players and transfer portal players. They're going to try to steal players that might even want to stay in college. We'll see what the USFL does in terms of talent acquisition, but things are happening for them. Things are moving for that league. Of course, the XFL kicking off in 2023, February. And I'd say with how things are going this month, Bryant, with in terms of the pandemic, the next wave or whatever you want to call it, and the next big moment of the pandemic, pretty good idea to kick off in 2023 in that regard too, because hopefully those kind of protocols are a little bit more tame because I don't think they're going anywhere in 2022, at least in the first half of the year.
Yeah, I mean this pandemic's not going away, and as we still continue to deal with it and learn how to deal with it, I think it's going to be very apparent that you're going to have to put the pandemic into your game plan, even by kicking off in 2023. So,
yeah, for sure. And again, the reason they're kicking off in Birmingham is not only cost cutting, but the USFL having a hub season for season 1 is probably a good idea in that regard as well. So we'll get back to the USFL and how it relates to the XFL with this monster TV deal they got. But real quick, a couple of fun things I want to touch upon in this week's Cover 2.
Good, crisp football.
So I just want to talk NFL, XFL for the first part of the Cover 2 here, Brian. The Washington football team might have to play Jordan Ta'amu or Garrett Gilbert this week. I don't know who. Taylor Heineke, Kyle Allen, both in COVID reserve, whatever you call it. They're not playing, most likely. So they have Jordan Ta'amu up from the practice squad. You could have an XFL quarterback replacing an XFL quarterback for one NFL team. That'd be pretty interesting. But also we had in the news this week, Donald Parham in that game injured. And of course, here's hoping he has a speedy recovery. He did, I think he tweeted out or Instagrammed out that he was doing all right, leaving the hospital, but scary injury on Thursday Night Football. The XFL has had some players prominent and making headlines in one way or another throughout the NFL season. But this is the thing I want to talk about when it comes to the NFL and the XFL. The big news this week, Urban Meyer fired. Would you ever want to see him coach in the XFL? No?
No. That would just make it a sideshow.
He kicks kickers, which
I mean,
once upon a time, I would say
you kicked the kicker.
That was
sorry,
that's
James.
Actually kind of funny.
I did it.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's not, you can't be doing that in any workplace.
No. You can't be.
And also not to mention how he apparently treated people and how it was. I mean, I don't recall mid-season anybody getting fired and a team just rejoicing over a guy getting fired as much. Did
Nick Saban last the full
he'll
year?
Be a pariah, huh?
Did Nick Saban last the whole year in Miami?
No, I don't think so.
I think he did.
Oh, no, he did. He did. You're right. Bobby Petrino did not last the whole year in Atlanta. Might have been the last one. This guy, Urban Meyer, I don't know. I could see probably a college hiring him, maybe a group of 5 school.
Well, the man's a proven winner. He won a championship in Florida. He won a championship in Ohio
apparently. Yeah, I don't know. This is an interesting story. We'll see, but hopefully the XFL stays away from him. I'll say that. The USFL, who knows? He does have a relationship with Fox, so actually wouldn't surprise me to see him go to the USFL because of that.
The last big name college coach that actually was successful in the NFL? Pete Carroll?
Yeah, I'd say Pete Carroll is the top dog of the modern era.
Right? Yeah, because Nick Saban tried, failed. Who else?
Pete Carroll did it, won championships in in a big time college program, and then of course Super Bowl with the Seahawks. Hard to do, of course, but not even making it through the full season and having all these controversies. My goodness. And you had a top pick, shouldn't have been that hard for Urban Meyer, but it was. And if you want to see him in the XFL, let us know at XFL Show, but I don't see why. I'd need to hear a really good reason.
Well, you look at the biggest name in coaching in 2020 was Bob Stoops, and was he the best coach in the league?
Probably not. I wouldn't say he was the worst coach in the league. He was the biggest name of the coaches, and in terms of results, he wasn't getting it done like June Jones was. But
Kevin Gilbride, the way you'd want to play
coaching in that kind of league too. I feel like June Jones just had an experience level over everybody else that just, I don't know. It was almost unfair. Mark Trestman kind of had a similar resume, but you could tell what June Jones was ready. But Bob Stoops, I'm excited to see what kind of coaches these new spring leagues hire. The USFL in particular, since it's sooner, Bryant, and they said young players. I wonder if they're going to go for young coaches, and if they are going to worry about name brand coaches the way the XFL kind of did in 2020. Do you think that's necessary? I think it will be for the XFL, but maybe not for the USFL, at least not right away.
I think I'm not as worried about who's going to coach in the XFL, even if I don't recognize their name, especially as probably your common fans don't know a lot of the coaches that were hired by the XFL. I'm not worried about it. I don't need the big names like I was hoping for, because at the end of the day, I just want someone who's going to be a good coach. Urban Meyer right now, not a great coach.
Here's a prediction, though. Seeing how Deion Sanders came out of nowhere, takes over a smaller program, steals a top recruit in the nation from his alma mater, giving someone, obviously money's involved in that, but giving someone the kind of opportunity they gave Deion Sanders at Jackson State, maybe the XFL gives someone like that, a huge name player who has no coaching experience, a chance at just coaching in the league.
I see the USFL doing that.
Why not the XFL? I would love if they did that. I have USFL, no gripes with it.
I do.
If the person's committed to doing it, even if they don't have the resume, I say maybe why not? If it gives, gets more people to watch, gets more players excited to play in the league, I think that's positive. And then if they struggle coaching and keeping up with all the other teams, then that's another thing. But I wouldn't mind it. That's a risk I'd be willing to take. If I'm ownership.
I think the USFL should do it and needs to do it to kind of dumb the noise down a little bit of what's going on the field, which is absolutely nothing right now. So,
yeah, we know executives there, we know the TV deal, but again, coaches, rule book, players, nada. And that league kicking off much sooner than the XFL. But we will keep an eye out. The NFL season, of course, winding down soon, so maybe that'll free up some announcements from the USFL in regards to personnel. Part 2 of our cover, too, I want to congratulate the Winnipeg Blue Bombers for winning the Grey Cup, Bryant, back-to-back champs. And, of course, the CFL season was tumultuous with XFL negotiations in the middle of them. It was a very, very interesting season coming back from a year off. And apparently the XFL influenced the CFL enough that they are going to be changing their league. The rumors about 4 downs coming to the Canadian game are running rampant. We'll see if they actually do it. But in Grey Cup week, Randy Ambrosie was asked, the commissioner of the CFL was asked about, hey, what about those XFL conversations you had? And he said, I love this quote. It's so Canadian and polite and beautiful. Quote, I think the conversations we had with the XFL group were very positive. They're a very nice group of people. And there was a real thoughtfulness to the way they approached our discussion with them. We talked about everything. We talked about what it might look like if we were to come together. Did that reveal anything to you? No. But it's nice to see that really the parting was amicable between the CFL and the XFL.
I think the CFL's hoping it was still amicable, is what I'm thinking. Yeah, it was a great.
You think
group
The Rock's
going
to cut a promo on Randy Ambrosie in Canada?
Randy...
The Rock's not going heel at all here, cutting promos about the CFL. I'm sure they would say the same thing about the fact that the CFL even listened to a league that was just barely out of bankruptcy is also very polite and thoughtful.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say that the XFL were maybe we as XFL fans saw the XFL as this monstrosity of a business trying to come in and help the CFL, but in reality, they both probably were trying to help each other. And the CFL has some stake in this game. You know, they're able to get a season in time. Good job before this whole thing started going crazy. But yeah, I mean, hopefully the XFL has closed the door on those conversations for now to not delay kickoff in 2023.
Yeah, and if we see the CFL change and go to 4 downs, I'll be shocked. But apparently that's where the wind's blowing because they want to change their game a little bit. And if anything, the XFL doesn't even kick off in 2023 for some reason. They still will have affected the CFL. That'd be crazy. And that would be some sort of lasting legacy. But of course, we want to see much more than that. Just interesting to note, a crazy year winding down. And that was really, for this show, at least one of the main things we were talking about for a while. It didn't work out, but we move on and focus on 2023. With 2022, though, a crazy year ahead of us, Bryant. We have not only the building of the XFL and all the announcements we're going to get, hashtag we want our jobs back too, but the USFL it being out there on Fox and now NBC. Spring football is going to be in the public eye more so than it was in the build up to 2020, even with the AAF, because the AAF came and went and basically was forgotten immediately. The USFL, I think, I will say this, you'd be a fool to bet against it making it through the whole season. It's going to make it through the whole season. I will bet on that. The USFL is propped up to give us a great, like we've been saying, spring TV show, late spring TV show that's going to give good live content to NBC and Fox to air.
Can we go to the hot read already? I'm getting very.
I'm building Brian up. It's going to be there. It's going to be a major focus for us and everybody because it's a huge. What do you want to call it? A roadblock, an attraction? I don't know, but it's on our road to 2023. You have the USFL there, and now it has a new TV partner, and apparently it's getting paid, unlike some other spring football TV deals, to actually air its games. A TV partner, big news this week. How does it affect the XFL? Brian, let's discuss it in this week's Hot Read. In case you missed the news, the USFL, which is owned by Fox, has come to terms with NBC to air games on 3 of their networks. Well, 2 of their networks and 1 of their streaming services. That's right, NBC, the USA Network, and Peacock. In addition to Fox and FS1, will be airing games for the United States Football League in 2022. And here's the breakdown of it, Bryant. 22 games will air on Fox networks. That's 12 games on Big Fox and 10 on FS1. And with this new deal with NBC, 21 games will air on their channels. 8 games NBC, that's the big NBC that in millions of homes. 9 games on the USA Network, which is revamping. It's going to be more sports-centric since they're getting rid of NBC Sports Network. So 9 games on USA, and then 4 games exclusively on their streaming service, Peacock. Huge news. This is a big deal because now it's not just Fox, it's really forcing football onto their networks. They have a partner in this who's actually paying them apparently for these games, which has not happened recently with the AAF or the XFL. And it's reported to be a 3-year deal from Sports Business Journal, and it's an actual rights deal, not production costs or ad rev sharing like the XFL had with its TV partners, and not free airtime like the AAF was getting from CBS. AAF on CBS was basically an infomercial. The USFL, Fox, who owns it, is getting cash money from NBC to air their games. And Yahoo's reporting, Bryant, that a source claims it's a significant amount. We don't know the amount. And of course, the 3 years is also being reported, but it's not official. We don't know the terms of this agreement, but reports are 3-year deal for cash money, and it's going to be on not just Fox, but NBC's platforms as well. Bryant, your reaction, how excited are you to watch the USFL on channels other than Fox properties?
Let me ask you something.
Foxy Peacocks.
Alan, let me ask you something.
Yes.
If I said, hey, Alan, can you give me a ride? And I'll pay you $10 for it. or if I said, Alan, I'll give you a ride. I'm going to drive. You don't have to pay me anything for it. Is there a difference? If I take my car and pick you up, or if I just pay you $5 and have you take me? If we're going somewhere?
Yeah. I don't want to give you any money to drive.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So I'm going to pick you up and we're going to go somewhere. Or Alan, come pick me up. I'll give you $10 and we'll go somewhere. Either way, I'm paying. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Who's paying for the production costs of this stuff? You think Fox is going to be like, you think Fox is like, all right, guys, the 10 o'clock game's done. Let's move all of our out of here. And NBC's going to move all their stuff into here. Is that going to happen? No, absolutely not. Fox is going to put all this on, and then NBC's paying them to let them put it on their channels. So there's no production costs for NBC. Fox is eating all that.
Is that the reports, though? Is NBC's going to have their commentators? They're going to have their production staff who are going to air these games.
The commentators don't make that's not the expenses.
They're going to have their teams
all the cameras.
Yeah, they're going to have their
Birmingham South to Birmingham North. What's going on here?
They're going to have. Yeah, I mean, there's never going to be simultaneous games in this league, which is great.
I'm not.
Yeah,
true.
What will
That's
the production cost? What will the production cost be for NBC here? But they're paying for the the show basically. So Fox is getting. I think this is great for them, don't you?
I just don't. I think it's six of one, half dozen of another. Whether ESPN was paying or Fox are paying the XFL in production costs, but not paying them for the actual football, or if Fox or if the XFL was like, hey, we'll pay for the production costs, you just give us money to air the TV, to air the games.
But really, I mean, Fox is the principal owner of this, so they do have to pay salaries and
paying wholesale.
And whatever the actual costs of this league are going to be. But remember, they got the housing bill and a lot of the bill paid by Birmingham, Alabama, by the city. And now they're getting extra cash flow in now from their TV deal. We don't know how significant it is, but
don't get me wrong,
they're getting their league more
exposure.
And they're getting the league more exposure than just putting it on their networks, where they would have been limited to just 12 games on their really big channel that everybody watches and 10 games on FS1 that really could go by the wayside and
part of me
eventually
really
bring in a
hopes
bad number.
Part of me really hopes the USFL is the USFL of the 80s, because then NBC will be showing these like really grungy and tough football commercials right in the middle of like ice skating in the Olympics.
Yeah,
it's gonna be great. Now
this is I don't really think you could spin this into anything negative. This is huge for a league that doesn't have players, coaches, or any infrastructure in terms of football operations.
I'm not turning into anything negative, but I think there's a reality to this, and then there's a couple things here too. Also, look, Alan, you mentioned to yourself, Fox is forking the bill for most of this, other than like housing and things like that.
But how much is that really?
Fox, if they don't see a profit, like any other TV show, the networks have no problem canceling TV shows in the middle of a season and shelving it and taking the loss and moving on. That's what they do. So if Fox doesn't see any money in this after 5 weeks, you think they're going to keep forking it over?
Yes, I don't see them pulling the plug on especially if they have an agreement with NBC to air the games. This season's going to go through barring obviously like pandemic getting in the way. That's why I would bet heavily on the league getting its full season in. It shouldn't be a problem. It sounds like they've checked a lot of the boxes, except obviously for getting teams together.
I'm betting on the USFL making it through as well. That's not what I'm saying, but I am saying there are obstacles that Fox or anybody have to get through to get to that. It's not just this done thing.
Well, with this now, there's no way in hell these games won't be watched. They're going to be
watched, but I said this. I'm talking about the season being finished. I don't think that's just like a foregone conclusion that it's going to finish all the way through.
I definitely would bet on it. I think it's almost a gimme. And also, I think, honestly, I mean, they don't have to do much in way of like the players and the coaches and everything to really if you want to say Papa rating equal to what the XFL did. Don't you think?
To get players
it's not going to be difficult.
We have to get players and
that's
coaches.
the other thing.
Oh my God.
They do need to get those.
And we're closer
I'm
than
worried
ever.
about that. Damn it, we're closer than ever to the kickoff. But really, the fact that they have like a brand in the USFL that I think is really easy to market it once they actually start doing it more and more, and they already are during NFL games. And I think, this shouldn't be difficult to really equate what the XFL was doing in terms of viewership. And that should be enough to get them through season 1 and on to season 2. So this deal, more above all else, for me this week, I learned, oh, wow, the USFL actually has a shot at being around when the XFL comes around in 2023. That could be a problem, like we said last week, because players are going to be, even though there's a lot of great players out there, the competition for them is going to be very interesting to see. And now they have a partner in NBC, so there could maybe be more of a war chest for the USFL when they actually have to compete for players when the XFL comes around.
I think it's also very not concerning, but I think it should be brought up that you have two, like in the XFL in 2020, ESPN and Fox had the same mission, the same goal in mind. There were two separate partners. They wanted to take the XFL's product and fill television time and make it, something that they could present and maybe innovate and change a few things, work on almost like practice for the NFL, all these different things. Great. This time around, for the USFL, you have NBC, you have Fox, who owns the league. Two very different interests, I think, in the success of this league. NBC's like, hey, we paid you, so you better be putting games on our TV. Fox is like, hey, we're swimming in debt, or whatever the case may be. There's two different interests here between these two networks that could clash at some point too. Which is
down the road, but I think initially it's a perfect match. You have Fox that really wants to obviously beef up FS1 somehow, some way, and also just maintain live programming because that's what it's all about these days. And NBC was in a huge spot, losing the NHL and changing a lot of how they're presenting sports across all their networks. So landing content like this, that's what you want to call it. Football, live football, big for NBC, who really could be in play could have been in play for the XFL. They would be interested because they need live programming. They lost a huge partner in the NHL, so landing the USFL is, I think, a big deal, especially for a young, struggling service like Peacock. Even with just 4 games on there, just putting anything on there that might get people to subscribe or just click on it for a free trial will be huge for them. So you see why NBC's getting involved. Fox taking advantage of that, very smart. How does it affect the XFL though? It's a 3-year. We don't know the terms of this deal. We don't know how ironclad it is. We don't know what out clauses there are. How if NBC wants to get involved with the XFL, if they can. Who's to say they can't? The leagues apparently will not be playing at the same time, assuming the USFL plays in 2023 the same schedule they do that they are in 2022. So theoretically, unless there's some sort of verbiage in this contract that says you cannot air another football league until the NFL kicks off or something like that, I think you could totally see the XFL on NBC before the USFL kicks off in 2023.
The spring football hub of America is NBC.
Why not? And that's more for them. They are really hurting for that, for the live sports. And we had JD Houston say, earlier we read that tweet. Oh, they're in trouble. I don't think so. I don't think it's ESPN or bust, which you saw a lot on social media this week for the XFL. I would love to see the XFL on ESPN, but I don't think this does anything to hurt their chances at landing NBC as a partner or any other media company as a partner for games and the TV deal in 2023. This is great for the USFL. The way it hurts the XFL, if any way, is that it gives the USFL a very good chance at making it to year 2.
What we haven't really talked about, Alan, maybe this is just me thinking off the top of my head. What about a streaming service? Maybe not. I don't know what you call them. Like YouTube TV, right? That actually gives like live television. That's in a lot of households, right? Could they be like someone who's like, hey, we're going to air exclusively XFL games through YouTube TV?
I mean, you could, but YouTube TV is essentially a cable provider, so they have deals with cable channels, and they actually this week lost Disney, so there's no ESPN on YouTube TV this week until they come to an agreement, if they ever do. Very interesting there, but yeah,
creating the XFL 24/7 channel. On YouTube
they could
TV.
easily do. I mean, it's owned by Google, so they could definitely afford to do that if they're. But I think what a service. Maybe another service, maybe like a service like Fubo TV, which is another cable provider and is very geared towards sports, actually cares about airing that kind of stuff. Where YouTube TV, I think, is really Google has that out there for people to have an affordable way to get cable, and they can get some of that money. They don't care if Disney, like this week, they don't care if Disney's gonna say pay us more money. They'll say no, we'll lower our cost, and people who don't watch sports will stick with YouTube TV. But yeah, something like that. I don't think one of those providers, like a Fubo or Hulu, would go for exclusive rights to airing a league's games like that, as much as I would bet on Amazon or maybe Netflix. People always say one day maybe Netflix would do that. That's where I would say look out for if it's like a streaming deal. Paramount with CBS.
If this is successful, if the USFL is successful, which I think we all want it to be, we all want football to succeed in this country, spring football that is. Who's to say Fox doesn't contact the XFL and be like, dude, this worked. Can we put some more of your games on our TVs before our season kicks off a few weeks after? And then we can broadcast commercials about our games kicking off after your season. And, like, there's no doors being closed here by any of this. Maybe networks don't want to take chances on multiple leagues. Fine, whatever. There's plenty of outlets out there. There's ESPN. There's ABC. There's even CBS if they want to get involved as well. Like there's plenty out there, and I'm not concerned for the XFL trying to get a TV deal, because if somebody says, "Hey, would you like a TV deal where the Rock is going to be on your TV every week?" I wonder how many people say that sounds like a really good idea.
Yeah, and the fact that it's NBC too, who has a relationship, like a long relationship with Dwayne Johnson, don't put them out of the running. The thing here is the USFL making it to year 2 spreads the talent pool thinner. That is where you have a concern. So this TV deal is awesome for the USFL, but it doesn't hurt the XFL as much in terms of taking away a TV partner potential for them. It hurts them, if any way, in the fact that they can make it to year 2, and the USFL will be in the way of snagging good players and personnel to be a part of the XFL. That's where you have a concern if you are Team XFL versus Team USFL. You could be Team both, which I am, but I do see the reality that you're not going to have anybody playing in both leagues, most likely. It could happen, but I think it'll be rare, and it'll be tough to do. These leagues are playing basically back-to-back schedules. One starts and ends, and the other one then starts right when that one ends. Assuming the USFL again in 2023 sticks with this.
It's very likely the USFL pushed it to April this time around because of COVID-19. And maybe if things are better going into 2023, they're like, hey, actually, that February window is a better window. Who knows?
They could, or move it back to maybe go closer up to where the NFL.
Here's
guiding
the thing.
people into the NFL.
These leagues have to put their head down. Both of these leagues have to put their head down and do what they want to do. If they're starting to worry about the other competition,
you can't.
Oliver Luck was always like the other league. We don't know what they're doing. We're doing what we want to do. We'll figure it out. Imagine if the XFL only worried about the AAF in 2019 when they were kicking off. They would have wasted their time, because 7 weeks in, gone.
Look, in the world of spring football leagues, 2023 versus compared to where the USFL will be kicking off in April in 2022, that might as well be 50 years apart, because in a spring league, you're living week to week, day to day. So there's no way to predict what the operations for the XFL are going to be able to do because of the USFL come 2023. The only way really it can be of a concern, I think, is in the player department and the coach department. But that's way farther down the line, and you just have to wait that out. In terms of business development, TV deal, league building, marketing, none of this affects the XFL, really. None of it. If anything, it gets spring football in people's minds, and they're going to be more accustomed to, okay, this one failed. Let's wait. What's the next one? And no one's going to knock people for trying this because it's football. Most importantly, it's football.
To me, it is insane how geared towards television this has all become. Because if you remember, it was all about markets. Where are we going to go? Where are we going to play? Where's this going to look good? It just seems like this sudden shift to like, it needs to look good on television. We want the best TV contracts. We want the best. I mean, you have 8 teams in the USFL that are not playing in the cities they're from. And no one seems to care about it, right? And that was such a focus for the XFL in 2020. It doesn't matter anymore. Right now it's, hey, how do we make this look good on television? And how do we get a good TV deal? A big shift from even just 2 years ago.
And you also have to factor in the world of betting and the fact that, like we've been saying during the show, the players are better and there's so many good players that just have to end their careers. Makes no sense. There's too much money to be made. Even if you're whittling it together real quickly, like the USFL is doing for season 1. As we wrap up this TV deal discussion, partnering with NBC, and we don't know the figure, but you got to believe it's significant enough that this is really something they were looking forward to the whole time because they are planning on having a season this year. But I feel like if you just look at the decisions they've made, how they've been presenting the league, how they're putting it together, the USFL is a league that's also being really put together for 2023 as its big year, and it's going to go through a very hopefully easy transitional season for year 1. They're trying to make year 1 as easy on themselves as possible because they have, I think that with this TV deal, you see they do have a bigger vision for the USFL than just Spring League 2.
To me, it was always about the quality of the play, and if the football's not great, people are not going to want to watch. And I think that's what we've seen in the past, and I think that will stay true through whatever Spring League tries to survive. So, look, USFL, now we were having mini camps. We're ahead of, that was a February kickoff for 2020.
The quality's got to be decent enough. How do you convince, is NBC that desperate? How do you convince people at a network like that to get on board with your league and your TV program if you can't promise the quality to
football
be
is king. Football is king in this world. No, football is king in this world. It's even more king than in 2001.
Do you not think someone in those discussions from NBC said, you're not giving me that football you guys aired on FS1 last year, are you? Because if
they probably don't even know that it did.
No, you can't be a responsible executive and not know about the Spring League from last year. Come on. Now you're just being rude. You're demeaning the intellect of these corporate people. They know what they were airing last year at Fox.
That was good enough for Fox to take this chance themselves. Why wouldn't that be good enough for NBC to take this chance?
Was it good enough? I think someone must.
We're talking the USFL on Fox. It has to be. You're right, because those were players that were paying to be on a team. But to me, when you're 4 months out, you don't know who the coaches are. You don't have anything. It's scary, and it's not something that we're bashing on the USFL. It's just the facts. And if the USFL wants to have quality football, quality players, that doesn't mean just getting quality players. You have to build these players. It's not a one-man sport. It's a team sport. And Alan, I've known you for 30 years. I couldn't know if you were running down the field. I don't know if you're going left or right. It takes time to build that type of stuff.
Yeah, this is kind of a cart before the horse type of move for the league, right? The TV deal for the XFL came before players, but coaches were on board before the TV deal, weren't they?
Mm-hmm.
Personnel at teams.
Bob Stoops was announced in February. The final coach was named in the middle of May, and the TV deal was announced at the beginning of May. So we're almost done with all the coaches by the time the TV deal came aboard.
Okay, so maybe it's not that far-fetched and that's not that much of a cart before the horse type situation here, but it is closer than ever. I mean, closer than ever. The USFL kicking off in April, just under...
I'll put it to you this way. I would have been more excited for the USFL if they announced coaches this past week than this NBC deal.
You would have been more excited?
Yeah. Because then it feels more like this is actually happening correctly. Right now they're throwing money at it, hoping that it just kind of hides all the stuff that goes underneath it.
I don't know. I'm pretty excited. I think it's awesome to think that we're going to have 20 football games on network
You're going to have
TV.
a quarterback that's going to throw a football 10 yards over somebody's head right now. You don't even know his name.
Or I might see someone who's just going to be great and awesome, like the next PJ Walker. A lot of good players.
PJ Walker was signed in October.
You might see
6
PJ
months.
Walker in this league. you could see some XFL guys in this league too. I mean, I just can't believe we haven't heard anything football operations wise from the league. That's the one stunning thing to me. That's what we all care about as football fans, but everybody sees this TV deal and that's like what you're saying. It's things so geared towards TV, and that's all really anybody cares about. Oh, there's football going to be on these channels. It's so bizarre. But it's not as bizarre and off-putting as the AAF.
I hope these
it's
are just
exciting.
Madden 2022 tournaments. That's what I hope.
Oh, God. Esports. USFL is not what it is. No, this is more exciting than the AAF. This is less put together than the XFL, but I'm here for it. That's what I'll tell you. That's why we're talking about it. We're not bashing it. You can be skeptical. You can have an opinion. We're not bashing this.
Part of the excitement of the AAF was like watching a high-speed chase. You know?
Yes. Yeah, they should. Yeah, you're right. In that case, they should have just aired the games on like KTLA in your neck of the woods. And just
that'd be great.
Middle of the day
from a chopper. That'd have been great.
Yeah.
News anchors not really knowing what to talk about.
Yeah, that's how they should have broadcasted those games. These are going to be professionally done. I don't think it's 6 and dozen, half of the whatever you and my mother-in-law say, that phrase that I always butcher. I think this is Fox landing a solid partner and getting some cash into their league from another source. Again, avoiding the cost of actually putting together the traditional football league. They're doing it a little differently. Maybe from a more cerebral
They announced Birmingham
spot.
yet?
I don't think they have officially said kicking off in Birmingham. I've been saying I don't know if they will. I don't think they're going to say like watch every week from beautiful Birmingham, Alabama. That's not happening. They're going to just say on Fox this week. Oh yeah, the game's in Birmingham. No knock on Birmingham, but it's not a big selling point for the marketing.
You think someone random would be like, man, this
league. Birmingham
team's always on television. They're always like the home team too. Why aren't they on the road? What schedule's this?
Yeah, this is going to be cool to see how NBC now markets the league too. We just got teasers from Fox's, and we'll see when and how NBC will market it as well. But here we go, 2022 coming up, Bryant. It's Christmas week, the XFL. We know a little bit about it. We know the timeline. We know 2023 February. But we know that 2022 is going to be full of obstacles. The USFL, finding out where and what the teams will be again, redoing all that stuff, acquiring coaches and players and personnel at the executive offices and podcasters. The XFL has a lot of league building, and it's all happening next year. Before we get there, though, what do you want for Christmas from the XFL?
I mean, the simple answer is what? News, updates, weekly discussions. How about a guest? I want a guest. We've never had before to come onto this show and talk to us about the XFL kicking off in 2023. Give us something
from the league, a current.
Oh,
there's a lot more people working there than just a couple of weeks ago. We got to put our heads down and bowl through and get them to give us somebody. They're not really doing a lot of media right now.
Yeah, that's what I want. I want someone to sit with us and have a discussion about the XFL and what we can expect from it. With two guys who were the only two guys to ever cover the XFL draft live in this entire known universe, I would think that's inadequate. The floor is open. Give us whoever the discussion. It could be 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever it might be. But let's fit us in there. That's what I want.
mean, I would love that. I don't think it's happening. You'll shoot your eye out type of situation there with that. I don't think we're getting that for Christmas, Bryant, because they're not really doing media. They don't have the company line to really pitch the league just yet. If we ask them all the questions we want to ask, I don't know if they can answer a lot of it.
We interviewed Oliver Luck when it was Oliver Luck and Stephanie Rudnick were the two employees of that league.
Fantastic people, but they knew what they were, how to sell it and what to say. They knew quality of the league. They knew
you could sell a ketchup popsicle to a woman in white gloves.
I know. I'm not going to ask for that much. I'm not greedy like Brian. I'm just going to ask.
Greedy.
I'll be happy. All I want for Christmas from the XFL, just don't change the rules now. As long as the rule book isn't touched, it's still alive to me and kicking. That's all I care about. That's fine. Not asking for much. Oh, and an XFL toothbrush. That'd be cool to have. Doesn't even need to be mechanical.
I was really hoping for an XFL goodie bag.
Yep, those media kits I'm sure will be coming out in 2022. Get ready for a lot more merch, goodie bags.
You know, we get XFL drawstring bags too.
Oh, I got a dozen of those laying around. The drawstrings.
I swore I got one too.
Oh yeah, I snuck a bunch of those out of Connecticut before we got out of Dodge.
I have an XFL duffel bag.
Mine broke. I need an XFL duffel bag. The zipper broke. I hate duffel bag zippers. I don't know. I'm just not good with them. If anyone wants to send us a gift for Christmas,
if I know
I'll take an XFL duffel bag.
You would never check a bag if your life depended on it, so you're just overstuffing these duffel bags when you're trying to get on an airplane.
Used to be, but now as an expert traveler and a nomad, digital nomad, as my mother-in-law loves to call me, I'll check a bag. No problem.
That's like three instances where you've mentioned your mother-in-law. You might want a discount on your taxes this year.
A fantastic woman.
Well, either way, catch us here every single Sunday right here on your favorite podcast app, Google Podcasts, Apple, Stitcher, TuneIn, or wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure you give us that 5-star review and tell your friends about us or tell Alan's mom about what he said. If you got a question, comment, or topic you want us to cover, well, then text or call the XFL Fan Line 724-565-4XFL. Remember, standard text message rates do apply. Also, follow us on all social media platforms at XFL Show, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and TikTok. Or if you want to come and say hi, hello. Subscribe and watch us on YouTube at xfl.show, the official website of This Is the XFL Show. And don't forget to check out our sponsors, Pretty Easy Podcast. Go to prettyeasypodcast.com and get started today because they make podcasting pretty easy.
Ho, ho, ho. It's going to be a Merry Christmas, Bryant, because the rule book's not getting changed, and we got a whole year of XFL news ahead of us.
I will tell you this, Alan. I don't think the rule book will get changed before Christmas, so I think you're safe there.
Yes, that's all I want. Let us know what you want for Christmas from the XFL. Maybe a Rock interview anywhere. I don't even care if it's on this show. He hasn't done a lot of XFL media.
I have a good feeling that a lot of people's Christmas wish would be to have somebody on our show from the league.
Would be cool. We'll see. It's going to be happening in 2022, so we'll see what happens.
At XFL 2023, tell them to come on the at XFL show on Twitter. Do it.
Tell them.
Start a trend.
When are you going to have people on the show? We're going to start telling us about the league.
Be nice.
USFL's got this TV deal. Yeah, be nice about it. But say you could tell them the USFL's got this TV deal. We want to hear about your league. They're plotting and planning, obviously, It's a slow roll, a slow burn, however you want to call it. But there's going to be a whole year. It's been rolled. The ball's been rolling slowly for the XFL, and then I'm telling you, it's going to be an avalanche of information and things to discuss next year. You might want to enjoy this while it lasts, this dead period. Just enjoy.
That's what I want. I want all XFL team names to not end in S.
None of them?
Just
You want all the teams to just be like the Jazz,
the Avalanche.
That
Extreme. Bring that one back. Rage.
Very arena football league-y. I don't know if I can do that.
That's true too.
I'd be more of a fan
USFL?
of them all being generic team names like Wildcats.
Or I thought you meant like football team, LA club.
Oh, or
LAFC.
yeah. LAAFC.
YA. We will AYA.
Los Angeles American Football Club. That's all I want for Christmas. Next year. All right. Well, that does it. That's it for the show,
That
Brian.
does it. Merry Christmas, everyone. Happy holidays. Stay safe. Enjoy time with your loved ones. Stay safe. A lot of nasty stuff still out in the air. So be careful. We want you around for 2023. So do what you can. If it doesn't hurt for that long, it's really worth it. And day, and I was back to full mobility.
Or if you do a lot of curls like me, it doesn't hurt at all. No pain.
I'm more like Crunch from the big hit.
Those are. I gotta do those more. These computer injuries are killing me. I'm gonna go overstuff a duffel bag though, because I'm traveling to Pittsburgh for the holiday. Brian.
You're traveling. Wow.
Yeah, I'm not checking a bag for this one either. So I got to get out of here. That does it for this week's show. Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas to you too, Alan, and the wife, and the mother-in-law apparently too.
I'll tell her you said happy holidays.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. For Bryant, I'm Alan. This is the XFL show. Merry Christmas. And remember, they're listening.